welcome to a special bonus episode of This Fat Girl Life. I am your host, Kimberly Pleasia. You guys see me every week, and you get to see me again tonight. Tonight, I am being joined by Dr. Carolyn Ross, and we are going to be talking about stepping out of limiting mindsets. And I'll go into that in just a minute. But in the meantime, before we get into that, if you want to support this broadcast, if this broadcast has touched your life, has helped you, has been something that you've been wanting to share to other people, I ask you to please consider helping support me at buymeacoffee.com/, this fat girl life. Everything that goes into that helps me upgrade equipment, helps me to take this message to a national, larger scale audience. So definitely go to buymeacoffee.com/, this fat girl life. Plus, by being a follower there, you get the tea. And trust me, there is tea coming, you guys. You don't want to miss out. So definitely go there. So, again, I have Dr. Carolyn Ross with me tonight. Dr. Ross, how are you?
I'm good, Kim. It's great to be with you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Before we get into this conversation, though, why don't you tell everybody just a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm a medical doctor who specializes in treating eating disorders, addictions, and trauma. Board certified in addiction medicine and preventive medicine, and also a specialist in integrative medicine. I'm an author, a speaker, a consultant, a mom, lots of roles.
I would say you wear a ton of hats. How do you
I
juggle it
know.
all?
It's not easy, that's for sure.
And that
Luckily, my kids are grown, so that helps a lot.
that does make a difference. But I mean, with you doing all of that, that definitely ties in right with tonight's conversation. So, we're going to be talking about stepping out of limiting mindsets. So, for anybody who doesn't know what a limiting mindset is, brief, quick overview, it's the I can't. I can't do this because I'm not good enough because
Hmm.
those are mindsets that stop you in your tracks and limit what you believe you can do.
Yeah.
So, we're going to be talking about stepping out of those. And Dr. Ross, you seem to be like the perfect example of being able to step out of that and do so much.
Well, I appreciate the compliment, Kim, but I have my own limiting mindsets that I've struggled with throughout my life. So I think everybody has something in their lives that they struggle with. And just frankly, what I've learned in working with, thousands of my patients over the years is that most of these limiting beliefs come from our childhood and from, any kind of childhood adversity, neglect, abuse, trauma, etc. And when we have trauma, it actually causes kind of a toxic stress situation in our bodies, which then can actually change the way our brains work. And usually during this process, we come up with limiting core beliefs like I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, no one will love me unless I'm thin, for example. And those are things that then become unconscious and they just run our lives from the background, basically.
And it's definitely something that even unintentionally, it may not be an intentional thing. It may have been how they were raised. We hear these messages from our parents,
Sure.
from our teachers,
Hmm.
from people that are supposed to be the most supportive. A lot of times we will get those messages, and half the time I don't think they even realize that they're sending those messages to us.
Yeah, I agree with you. When I talk to people about how they have come to have food and body image issues, often they talk about some of the messages they got as children. I remember very clearly that when I was working in one of the treatment centers that I was medical director for, one of my patients there said her dad used to quote unquote tease her by calling her Miss Piggy. And that was scarring. He thought it was a joke, ha ha ha, but it's not funny really. And and I've heard many other versions of that from, like you said, from teachers, from people in the media, from your parents and so on. So it's, our culture is so thin obsessed and so obsessed with the thin ideal that people think they're quote unquote doing you a favor. Just another example was a patient living in a larger body was shopping in Target or Walmart, and she gave her daughter a cookie. And some stranger came up to her and said, "If you let your daughter eat that cookie, she's going to be as big as you are one day." That's a stranger.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh
I think
man.
a lot of people feel like, well, if you are living in a larger body, you need to quote unquote get it together, and something's wrong with you and you need to
Hmm.
fix it. And I think that has caused, well, I know that has caused a tremendous amount of pain and suffering for many, many women, either who have anorexia, bulimia, who have binge eating disorder, etc. So some people were started on diets by a doctor who told their mother that their daughter was in the wrong weight range, and so they need to go on a diet when they're age 5. And it's just the most horrific thing, because children are still growing. We don't know what a child is going to look like when they're 10 or 12 or 20, and to start restricting their food intake